Hello my little bookish dweebs. So I did a video like 5 or 6 months ago now talking about books that I would accept absolutely no criticism of. They were some of my favourite books of all time, and I said literally in the video, if you were to try and argue that they weren't good books, I would physically fight you. I mean, I've literally, I don't think I've ever been in a physical fight apart from with my brother when I was like young. But other than that, I would try my best. Either way, I have some more books. So there's 4 here, and I've got a 5th that I've still not got the physical copy of because my mother-in-law has the physical copy of it. But these are 5 more books that I would physically fight you for. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing that I did last time, where I'm going to be walking around and I'm going to be sitting around the house and I'm going to be making a cup of tea and all this sort of stuff whilst I talk to you about these books, because it's just more like sort of a chilled situation. And you know what else I've realised? I think I may wear this jumper a lot in lots of different videos. It's my lazy day jumper, and I often record these videos during my lunch break at home when I'm working from home. So that's a thing. Anyway, let's get into the video and talk about books I will accept no criticism of. This is, I guess, a part 2. Okay, let's talk about our first book, which is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Now, this is a book that I picked up last year and ended up being one of my top books of 2024 even. I'm way ahead of myself already. Absolutely fantastic. And I don't know why I was surprised that I enjoyed it so much. Was I surprised? I don't know. Because so many people said to me, it's going to be fantastic. So many people said it's brilliant. The audiobook's fantastic. That's how I listen to a lot of my books. So yeah, it was fantastic. It was brilliant. I was impressed by it. The concept here is that there is a man called Ryland Grace, and he is the sole survivor of an accident in a spaceship up in space. He cannot remember why he's there. He cannot remember quite know where he is and what the purpose of him being there is, which is the same as why he's there. So we then, throughout the rest of the book, unravel the past in bits as to why he's here, what's going on, what kind of led up to where he is now. And at the same time, we're also dealing with him in this kind of present time, trying to deal with all of these problems along the way. Now, without spoiling too much in here, there is a fantastic character dynamic that you won't understand until you get to that point in the book. But it's brilliant, and it really, really is worth sticking around for, and is the strongest part of this book. The plot itself is fine. It's not fantastic. I think the character dynamics and the interactions in the plot and the story around those people and what's going on there is the best bit. The actual overarching him getting back home, any of that malarkey sort of stuff isn't that great, though I was enthralled the whole time. But it's just really a great book, and there's 2 main aspects as to the reason I love this. One, so fun, so funny, so intelligent and witty. Andy Weir's writing is really, really quick and snappy, and also the narrator that I listened to it on audiobook was just brilliant. I cannot remember his name because it was quite a while ago now, but he was just fantastic. He really brought the character of Ryland Grace to life. The other characters are in the book, he brought them to life as well, and he made what could have been, and I don't think the book in any way is an underwhelming book, but could have been a book that maybe was misunderstood, perfect. It was just brilliant. So if you do intend to pick this book up, because I recommended it here, I would suggest picking it up on audiobook because it's brilliant. It's got a fantastic front cover. It's being made into a film with, I think, Ryan Gosling coming out soon, so I would highly recommend that as well. Such a fantastic book. So that's Andy Weir. That's my first book, or that's Project Hail Mary. That's my first book on this list of books that I don't think I'm going to accept any criticism for, because they're just brilliant. So yeah, let's crack on to the next one. Okay, so my next book is Carla Tostaini's 1,000 Splendid Suns. This is a book I will literally accept no criticism of. It's fantastic. It is a brilliant, brilliant book. So this is a book set a while ago. It's about a woman called Miriam who's only 15. She's sent to Kabul to marry a man called Rashid. Nearly 2 decades later, a friendship grows between Miriam and a local teenager, Layla, as strong as the ties between mother and daughter. However, when the Taliban take over, life becomes a desperate struggle against starvation, brutality, and fear, yet love can move a person in unexpected ways. Now, the reason that I love this book is because, and I say this if you've ever watched any of my other videos before, it's a book that made me feel things I've not really ever felt in a book before. I have a very, very vivid memory of sitting out in my garden reading this book just before I'm about to go out somewhere. I can't quite remember. The sun's out, it's a great day, and I'm reading the book and I'm just so immersed in it. I'm so obsessed with what's going on, these 2 characters, the dynamic between them, the relationship between them, the love between them. And then basically some sad stuff happens, and it really, really brought me the closest I've ever been to tears whilst reading a book. That's how powerful this book is. There's a moment where something is said or something is done where I just thought, oh gosh, and it was the moment I needed to stop reading it, because it's like, I'm going out somewhere, I can't be emotional about life when I'm going out to meet other people. So I had to put it down. And I know Carla Tostaini has the other book as well, Kite Runner, which is meant to be fantastic as well. And I don't think I've properly read that one. I think I studied it in English, but I didn't really pay attention. A Thousand Splendid Suns is such a fantastic book as well. As I said, it's very emotional, it's very poignant. It's supposed to be factually correct as well, and the idea that the Taliban taking over was such a horrible time for women and is still, I think, going on over there at the moment. I'm not too sure, but it's just such a dark thing, and this really brings you into the gritty, ruthless elements of it and the honesty that's portrayed there and all these sort of things. It's really heartbreaking, such a poignant read, a book that will make you appreciate the life you may have now. I live in such a comfortable life compared to what's going on here, and every single time I read books like this, it makes me so blessed and so happy that I can do that, and I feel so lucky to be able to do that. And books like this are the reason that is what I'm allowed to do. It's such a fantastic book. I could not recommend it more. So that's Khaled Hosseini's A Thousand Splendid Suns, and that's the second book on my list of books that I would accept absolutely no criticism for. Such a good book, this one. My next book is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Now, this is a book that was sent to me very kindly by an Instagram follower. I don't want to name her in case she doesn't want to be named, but essentially she said, this is one of the best books I've ever read and I'd love for you to read it. Can I send you a copy? I said, you're more than welcome to send me a copy. I will happily read it. It is a long boy. That's the first thing I thought when I was sent it and I received it. I was like, that's a very long book. What if I don't like this? I feel compelled when people send me books specifically to read them. However, it's very long and it's very nervous. And I'll be honest, and I say this in every kind of review that I talk about with this book, I did not think this was a great book for the first, I don't know, 30% or so. And then things started to change. So my initial opinion of this book was very much, it's just about cowboys. It's just about people not being particularly nice or friendly and kind of relationships going on. But then things started to really change when essentially the characters started to interact with each other differently. So the person that was grumpy, the person that was horrible throughout the whole thing, suddenly changes and has an emotional moment. The person who kind of had a father figure or a son figure, suddenly that grows stronger and you start to feel that a lot deeper. And that's what happens in Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. Now, I know this is part of a series, and I think some people are confused as to how the series goes. I'm still not 100% sure. I think this is the first book in the series. However, Larry McMurtry went back and wrote books that precede it, and therefore I think they are sometimes considered like kind of the books you should pick up before you read this one. But there's nothing about this book that you cannot just pick up and read straight away. It does not feel like I'm picking up a story halfway through. It really feels like your characters are introduced quite well. It feels like you're then going on a journey with them where nothing is really missed. So I would recommend, if you've not yet read this, 100% picking up. So yeah, if you've never ever heard of this book or anything like that, I hadn't heard of it up until I started reading it. And then it had a bit of like a little kind of celebration over on the social media channels. Everywhere started to start talking about it. I saw Mike's reviews, I think it is, start talking about it as well. And yeah, it's a book that you don't have to be interested in cowboy stuff to be interested in either. I kind of got really back into cowboy stuff here. I was reading this, and there's also a TV series which you can actually watch for free on YouTube if you know where to look. And also I got back into Red Dead because that's probably the best representation in modern media of kind of the whole cowboy thing. But yeah, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry is such a poignant book, and a book that kind of encompasses everything you need in a book. It's got emotion, it's got sadness, which is an emotion, but it's got happiness, it's got the idea of a journey, it's got the people changing, it's got the feeling of a life changing, all this sort of stuff. It's such a fantastic book covering such an array of different things that you'd want from a book. So if you've not yet, as I said, heard of it or even read it or even checked it out, I'd 100% recommend it. My only little caveat would be I listen to a lot of it on audiobook, as I do with all of my books. However, the audiobook version I got was a very kind of low quality thing. I don't know if that's the only edition they've got released or whether there was a mix up in how my order worked or anything like that. But I listened to a very, very low quality version, which then meant I couldn't listen to it quite the same speed that I would listen to you. Usually I'm at least a 2 times speed kind of listener, but with this one, I couldn't listen to it much quicker than 1.7 speed, that sort of thing, just because the quality was so bad. So just a small thing if you are only an audiobook listener, or you were thinking, oh, I'll speed up with an audiobook, little caveat. But yeah, don't let it stop you reading the book. Still such a fantastic book. I would 100% recommend it, and it's a book that I would struggle to accept any criticism for. Oh yeah, that's a good cup of tea. So then the last physical book I've got a copy of is The Women by Kristen. Now this is the most recent book I've finished, and it's quickly jumped up into being one of my favourite books of all time. And I'm reading a book right now that may even surpass it in terms of the amount of emotional poignancy that it's given me. Kristen is without a doubt one of my favourite authors. I may have to do another updated video where I talk about my favourite authors, because Kristen has shot up there so quickly with pretty much every book she's written. I've read, I've enjoyed, and it's fantastic. There are still some I will need to get my teeth around. I need to kind of work out where her greatness began and whether I've read all of those sort of things. But The Women by Kristen Hanna, I read, I think, last month, and is without a doubt going to feature in my top books of the year. At the end of the year, I just know it. And I think the other book, Kristen Hanna, I'm reading at the moment will also feature up there. The Women specifically focuses on the story of Frankie McGrath and her time in the Vietnam War. She signs up to go to the Vietnam War because her dad is so proud of every military person in the family. She signs up to become a nurse, but when they realize, there's my cat, when they realize that she has signed up and that she is going as a nurse, they are ashamed and they are upset. And she says, why? You love military people. They're like, yeah, we love military men in our family. Women aren't supposed to go to war. You're not supposed to do that. That's not what women do. Remember, this is the 1960s. Additionally, what you then have is this element of she's at war. She's doing these incredible things. She goes as a nurse. She sees these dark things, these horrible things, has these incredibly life-changing experiences and comes back. And because, again, she's a female, people seem to misunderstand her and people kind of are like, no, you can't have PTSD. You can't be sad and you can't have gone to war because you're a female and all of this sort of stuff. And it's about that, and it's very emotional, very well written. It's very Kristen Hanna, and then that it's about this powerful woman and women being misrepresented during history, and the powerful women during history that people probably weren't writing about back then because that's not what people wrote about. They wrote about strong male leads, this sort of stuff. So Kristen Hanna is essentially going through and writing these strong women stories, and it's brilliant. She's having a bit of a revival recently. Again, a lot of her books are getting these stunning front covers. The Night Road that I'm reading at the moment by her, I think came out in 2012, but has then gone on to have a brand new front cover and looks fantastic. And it's kind of this similar big bold font, little text down here, bright colors, that sort of thing going on. So that's fantastic. But yeah, The Women is my probably most recent book that I would accept absolutely no criticism for. It's so good. Kristen Hanna's way of writing, I wouldn't say she's a substantial writer. I wouldn't say she's kind of, her prose is poetic or advanced or anything like that, but the way in which she manages to write human stories in a way that engages me so much is like few other people. There are very few other books where I have to be listening, where I'm distracted from the entire world around me because I'm listening to the audiobook of this. There are so many few books where I'm reading the book and I can't find a time to stop because I want to just keep reading. I don't know what the magic is, Kat. Don't know what the magic is, and I don't know what's special about what she's writing, but it is so fantastic, and it really, really is gripping. Such a good book. The Women, I know, is one of her most celebrated. There's The Nightingale as well. I've read The Fourth Winds. Obviously, there's The Night Road that I'm reading at the moment. The Great Alone is supposed to be very good. So yeah, there's quite a selection of her books that I think would be worth your time. But The Women is my most recent one. There's others I could probably put in here. As I said, I'm probably going to be adding The Night Road to this list at some point as well. But this is my most recent book of books that I would accept absolutely no criticism for. Okay, so my final book I don't have a physical copy of, but is a book that I will accept no criticism of, and that is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This was my joint top favourite book of 2024 and has gone on to be one of my favourite books of all time. I don't have the physical copy at the moment because I've given it to my mother-in-law, who I don't think has quite yet picked it up, but does intend to. The Heart's Invisible Furies focuses on a man who grows up gay, or when he's quite young realises he is gay in Ireland, and it's during a time in the 60s when you just cannot be gay in Ireland because it's frowned upon. I think it was borderline even legal. Police, I knew, would beat people up for it, and they would kind of lock them up for it. General people would beat you up for it. You had to do all of it in secret. And it's essentially the story of this person growing up around people having to try and learn to accept him, around people, kind of the world developing around him as well and changing as he goes. And it's just such a fantastic book. My favourite genre of book that will always have me thinking this is one of my favourite books of all time are books where you've got a singular individual or a group of individuals who develop throughout life, where everything they do is about kind of developing themselves, changing themselves for the better, this sort of thing. And you see them grow as people, you see the world change around them, you see them change, all this sort of stuff. Those are my favourite types of books, and this book is that. We pick up with our main character, whose name off the top of my head I've forgotten, but at the very young age, and he essentially then, I think we even pick him up literally in the womb, and then he grows up, and we kind of leave him when he's in his late 70s, that sort of thing. And so we really do experience that whole life and how the world changes around him, sort of thing. and it's fantastic. It's so poignant. There's emotional moments, there are happy moments, there's fantastic character dynamics. One of the things I often find hardest with books is first person written books about one individual, because you can then sometimes struggle to portray other characters in it. It makes it difficult for the author to then say, okay, John, the other character here, has this sense of humor and has these thoughts and that sort of thing. But John Boyne, the author, manages, that was a coincidence, I didn't mean to name the other guy John, but manages to do this incredible thing where he just does it. He just manages to make the main character and all the other sub-characters feel like genuine, real people, and it's fantastic. It was such a joy to read, and it's a book that I will accept no criticism of. I think my mother-in-law is nervous about reading it because she's like, it's long, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy it, it's not really a topic I would be that interested in, that sort of thing, but I'm going to make her read it, and if she doesn't, I'm going to ask for the book back, because I've now done a few videos where I've mentioned it because it's fantastic, and I've not had the physical copy. Anyway, that's my final book on this list of books that I will accept absolutely no criticism of. Let me know down below if you've got any books that you would accept no criticism of. What are your favourite books of all time? Because that's essentially what this list is for me. These are books that if I was asked in a room full of a group of people, what, I don't know, was your favourite book of all time, these would be the first ones that would pop into my head. And if these were brought up in a book club, I would argue the point. I would say, no, these are bloody fantastic. Please do not say bad things about these books. Let me know what books you would bring up in a book club and defend until your dying days. Who would you swing for? What characters would you swing for? What author would you swing for? That sort of thing. By swing, I mean with my fists, not like swinging. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't just make you a little bit awkward. If you haven't yet, drop a like, drop a comment, and if you haven't yet subscribed, that'd be great. I'm gonna go finish my cup of tea. Probably I'll edit this video, and then I'm gonna finish off the rest of my work. Bye.